IDF exclamation point, IDF crew even. Do you think we'll see a lot of Unreal Engine 5 games with Nanite VSM and most importantly Lumen running on Switch 2 in the coming years? The fact that Star Wars Outlaws will have dynamic GI and ray trace reflections allows for some optimism, but as a counterpoint, the comparably powerful Steam Deck runs the Matrix Awakens demo very poorly, despite the rumor that this demo is running on a Switch 2 prototype. It's Gamescom 2023. So, Alex, here's my quick viewpoint on this. At launch, Fortnite is coming out for Switch 2. And Fortnite has historically been a showcase of sorts for Unreal Engine in its various iterations, 4 and 5, to see what, if Epic are doing this at 60 frames per second, kind of lays the template for what other people might be doing. However, I have run the Matrix Awakened demo on broadly equivalent PC hardware, running on the new, ported to the new Unreal Engine 5. Is it 5.44?
You did 5.44.
Latest one. Yep. Yeah. And it runs incredibly badly, even at 720p. Turn off Lumen and everything's fine. And I did notice, actually, that the Fortnite footage, which was 60 FPS on Switch 2, had Lumen turned off. Right. But so I'm curious what you make of this question.
Well, I'm just going to say, like, those, just look at the games that use Nanite, VSMs, and Lumen on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and look at the struggle that has been to get that at 60 FPS and what that has meant. Like the 720p, like resolutions we've seen, the dodgy frame rates, dodgy IQ, dodgy quality settings, even for things like Lumen, right? So, like, having all those features enabled has been a challenge for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 to get to 60 FPS. It will be so much more a challenge to get that to 60 FPS on Switch 2. Probably a challenge to get all those features in there at once at 30 FPS on Switch 2, completely honest with you. So I would imagine we could see one feature, or two of the features together. I imagine we would often see Nanite. We could see Nanite because the hardware is just going to support it, and those games are going to only have Nanite made for them. They're not going to make a discrete LED system just for Switch 2. They're going to use things like Nanite, and then if the game's core art style is designed around it, like a really cut down version of Lumen, maybe not even having Lumen reflections like we've seen in a lot of Xbox Series S versions of games, like where it just falls back to the Lumen uses actually world space probes for certain things, for shading of certain things, and they use that as like the reflection base and stuff like that, and then they sometimes run SSR over it. I think we could see stuff like that, and I would imagine VSMs would be the first thing anyone would cut if they were using a Switch 2 port of a game. Like, that is obscene detail for little win on a console like that. VSMs can run better for certain content versus standard CSMs, but that is stuff that is hardware that is way bigger, right? We're talking about stuff that has inordinate amounts of like more compute to hide the costs in like async. That's like where VSM becomes better. So I think really, yes, technically those things do run because the Switch supports the APIs that have the ability to support these functions, but like, I don't think we're going to see all three of them in a product, really. I think that would be extremely rare, if at all possible, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just running the Matrix Awakens demo on a really, really slow Ampere GPU, which I have done, Lumen is massive. I mean, even at using DLSS performance mode from like 360p to 720p, Lumen was massively impactful to performance.
Yeah.
And when you kind of like zoom up into the sky and look at the whole city there, the big city, the Unreal city sample actually seems to ship with two different cities, a small city and a large city.
Yeah, right.
The large city has big performance problems as well. And that's before we even factor in the CPU, which we can't simulate on a PC. So there's a lot going on there. I think ultimately we're just going to have to wait and see what the developers come up with. But yes,
also hardware from that era, from 2003 or 2023, like who knows what it was clocked at or what, the current specs were on that prototype stuff, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of that would have been decided yet.
No, right. That's
Yeah.
that's the interesting part, right? And so, and that was also behind the scenes. We don't know what it was running. We don't know if it was running VSMs. Like we don't know that, right? So
We don't know anything. We don't even know if they're talking about Switch 2 prototype, but I think at the time the phrase was target hardware, which can kind of mean anything.
yeah.
Yep. Just have to wait and see. Take a look at Fortnite. That will give us some indication of what's possible at 60, and you can kind of extrapolate out there from 30. But there's going to be a ton of Unreal Engine games, 5 games
sure, yeah.
appearing on Switch.